It's summertime, and that means it's grilling season. So today we are going to be using this grill behind me. We're going to be making a meal from Walmart using only $20. We're going to be feeding 6 people and doing a cookout style type of meal. So come join me, we'll see what we're gonna make. For this meal, I wanted to make sure that everything was as fresh as possible, so I've used almost all fresh ingredients. About half of our 12 ingredients are all fresh vegetables. I thought about doing potato salad this time as well, but they actually didn't have any potatoes, or at least not the cheap kind. So I forwent the potato salad and decided we're gonna make a fumi salad, which is a cabbage salad that uses ramen noodles as the crunch factor. Then I also thought we would do a cucumber salad. Cucumbers are just such a nice, fresh, summery ingredient, and I love using them in different salads. Now, when I was looking at meats, of course, I thought, okay, chicken legs, but we've done a lot of chicken, honestly, lately, so I decided to go with the cubed beef that you saw me pick up. I also wanted to make this angel food cake. I love that it only uses water because that really helps save ingredients if you don't have a lot of eggs or oil, especially because eggs are really pricey lately. And I'm curious, what are eggs going for in your area? Leave a comment below and let me know. Alright, this is everything we got for the $20. I got 3 ears of corn that we are going to soak and then grill on the grill outside. I did get skewers, even though I didn't put it in the budget just because I didn't have any on hand. But if you have them on hand, great. Some people have metal ones, and Walmart actually has a decent price on some metal ones as well. Then I also got this fresh pineapple, a box of angel food cake. I also got a pepper, a red onion, 1 cucumber, a container of white vinegar, some sugar, a thing of coleslaw. I tried to get some cabbage, but they actually were all out, and so this is what I got. And I also got some whipped topping. I got this beef ramen noodle pack. We're actually going to use the packet to help season this, and this is going to be our kebabs. This might be controversial because I know I could have gotten a lot more bang for my buck if I had gotten chicken, but we have had chicken and other things like chicken for a while, and I just felt like celebrating, so we got something a little higher priced for, you know, a little less meat, but it's going to be really delicious, and it's actually going to stretch pretty well thanks to being on those skewers up there. So this is what we got for $20. I'll put my total before tax below on the screen. I did also want to include that these are the seasonings we will be using. I included these as freebies. Will use salt and pepper, a little bit of oil, some butter, ginger powder, what is left of our sesame seeds, which is not that much, and garlic powder and ground cinnamon. And so just basic seasonings that you would get if you had a seasoning shelf, and basic oils. To start off, we're gonna go ahead and set our oven to 350. I don't know why my oven likes to go to 355. Wow, it doesn't want to go to 350. There we go. We are going to be grilling our corn, and with that in mind, we're going to go ahead and soak them. You can soak them for up to 30 minutes or overnight. Does anybody know why there's an A written on this corn? I'm not sure, but I did wonder. Anyway, so we're soaking our 3 ears in just some clean water, and I ended up soaking them overnight. They turned out perfectly. Now we're gonna get to work on our marinade for our cubed beef. And I will have all the ingredients and all of the recipes below. I won't say exact measurements in this video just because some of these recipes are not my own, and I want to make sure that they get the traffic on their website. However, this marinade is my own making up, so I am using this packet of the beef seasoning, as well as 1/3 cup of sugar and a teaspoon of garlic powder and a teaspoon of ginger powder. I ended up being really impressed with this marinade. I think it kept our meat a lot more moist than it would have been if we didn't have this marinade. Plus, I let it marinate overnight, so everything had time to really soak in and, you know, just the flavors to marry in the fridge. Next, we're putting in 3 tablespoons of this vinegar. I used a lot of vinegar in my recipes today, so I was glad I included this in the haul, just because if you didn't have vinegar on hand, it would have been a key ingredient that was missing. I also put in a half of a cup of water and then gave everything a good stir. Then I started getting to work on chopping up my meat. I chopped up the meat into small pieces, about 3/4 of an inch to an inch, and it made a lot of meat actually. And then I added my meat into the marinade and gave that a good mix as well, covered it with saran wrap and kept it in the fridge overnight. Now we're getting to work on chopping up our veggies. We chopped up the peppers into larger squares, as well as half of the onion. 1/4 of the onion I went ahead and chopped into little slivers like this for one of our salads, and then I also finely chopped about a heaping tablespoon for one of our other salads. I really love the color of these purple or red onions, whichever way you want to call them. Now that our oven's preheated to 350, we're going to go ahead and add in our 1.25 cups of water and make our angel food cake. I'm just following the mix recipe on the back. One thing that you do want to take note of that is a little unusual for a lot of recipes actually is that you do not want to grease your pan. I've actually greased a pan before and the cake doesn't turn out very well. It actually makes it kind of flop and kind of burnt around the edges and things. So not so good. But I went ahead and whipped it all together and then I scooped it all into our pan as evenly as I could. Now that we have that finished, we're going to go ahead and put it in our oven for about 38 minutes. It might have been 40 by the time I got it out because I got a little sidetracked. What did I sidetracked by? Why, cutting up this pineapple, of course. So this is how I cut up a pineapple. I learned from my mom, who learned from one of her friends in the Philippines, because she wanted to know how they make the pineapple have the fancy ridges on the edge, as well as the fact that when you do those ridges, it kind of makes it so that you get the most bang for your buck, because you're not cutting off all of the pineapple, you're only basically cutting out the eyes of the pineapple. Sometimes when you like scrape the pineapple in or cut the pineapple in so close, you end up getting a lot of the good fruit and you end up just throwing that out. So instead, if you cut at this diagonal and you just get the eyes wedged out, then you won't miss out on some of the fruit that you would have otherwise had to throw out if you were just slicing down and cutting all the eyes off as you were slicing down. Now, I know they have a fancy pineapple cutter, which looks pretty cool, and it might be worth the buy, but I don't get pineapple often enough maybe to get it. I don't know. I'm torn. How often do you guys use it if you have one? I use throughout the whole cutting process that top part as my handle, and then at the very end I get rid of the handle of the top. And now my pineapple is perfectly cut up. We are going to use this pineapple in 3 different ways in 3 different recipes, so we have to chop it up in different ways. First, I chopped up some wedges. I ended up doing, I think, 8 of those in the end. Then I made also a lot of these cubes. The cubes are some of them are gonna go on the skewers, and some of them are going to go in the topping we are putting on top of this angel food cake, which just came out and looks pretty perfect. It's a little dark, but not too shabby and tastes delicious. Now, angel food cakes are one of those weird, tricky cakes where you have to really like let it cool. Otherwise, it will not come out very easily. And when you are going to take it out, it's really spongy. So it's really fun to see it finally come out of the pan, because sometimes when you do things in bundt cakes, they really like to just cling to the bundt cake and it's hard to know if they're gonna come out all right. Now we're turning to making our cucumber salad. This is the next day. I did some things the night before, lost all daylight, and couldn't end up grilling in the end. So, whoops. But anyway, we're making this cucumber salad now. I sliced up my cucumber and then I added into a bowl the sliced onions. Now we're going to add in our vinegar. The recipe is in the description, as this one is not my own, although I have a very similar recipe that's been handed out for generations in my family, so I just don't have that one posted online, and I found this one that was basically the same recipe. So we're going to add in some sugar, some water, some salt, and I added some pepper because that's how my family has grown up with our cucumber salad, so I put the measurement for that in the description. Any tweaks or additions that I've made to recipes, I did put in the description box just in case you were wanting to make it exactly how I made it. And if you were wanting to follow the recipe, then you could click all the links. Now we're just giving it all a good stir, and we are going to pour this over our bowl of fresh cucumbers and stir it all. Now, one thing that's interesting about this recipe is when you let these cucumbers sit in the fridge and marinate, the salad to marinate a little bit, even if it's just a few hours, the cucumbers shrink. Like, they kind of become flexible, and so what looks like a ton in your bowl is going to shrink down, and it won't look like nothing, but it does considerably shrink over time in the fridge. This salad is really nice and fresh and tastes delicious. I like to keep stirring it every once in a while if you have time. If you don't have time, it's fine, but you know, if you're opening the fridge to get a drink or something, just grab the salad, give it a little stir, just because that helps that vinegar that settles down at the bottom to really wash over all of the cucumbers and help it to fully marinate. Now on to the fumi salad. Now this salad is going to look a little different if you've had a fumi salad before, just because I didn't have the money in the budget to get the slivered almonds that you would normally put in it, or tons of sesame seeds, because normally you put in a lot of sesame seeds. I felt like those two, while they add a nice crunch, would not be absolutely detrimental to the recipe, and I was right. The recipe tastes great. One thing I would advise is that when you are getting ready to add in the crushed up ramen, make sure it's pretty close to when you would be serving the dish. It lasts for like hours in the fridge, but if it's more than 2 or 3 hours out from when you're gonna serve it, I wouldn't add the crushed ramen, just because it starts soaking up the liquid in the dish, and then it gets a little soggy, and the ramen's actually supposed to add a lot of crunch to the dish, which is delightful, but you gotta wait until like it's close to when you're gonna serve it. This is a really simple salad in the end. It just is using sugar, vinegar, some very basic salt, pepper, seasonings, oil, and when you're finished, you just dump that whole bag of coleslaw into your bowl, pour that vinaigrette on top, and add on that crushed up ramen. I grew up with this salad, and when I was looking up recipes, I was really excited at the prospect of making it myself. I don't think I've ever made it personally, but I've watched my mom make it, and I've had it a lot when she made it. I never realized how simple it was, but now that I know, you can bet I'm going to be making this more often. Not only is it simple and delicious, but also it's really cheap. I mean, it uses ramen and cabbage, which both are very cheap ingredients. Here I'm just crushing up the ramen. We're going to add it on top and then give everything a good mix and top it with what little bits of sesame seeds I have left, and that chopped onion. We can't forget that chopped onion. Now we're going to get to work on our barbecue skewers. I started off with a pepper at the bottom, and then I just alternated the different veggies and meat, and we ended up making, I think it was 18 skewers in the end, so quite a bit of meat. in the end was able to stretch out over all of those different skewers. We had plenty, and it was all very delicious. I really liked the pineapple and the different colors that the purple onion or red onion and the green peppers and the pineapple all added to this. It just made a really good dish. Now I'm getting started on our pineapple crush topping. To make this topping, which I did make up myself, we are going to use a half a teaspoon of cinnamon powder, about 2 cups of our chopped fresh pineapple, and about 1/3 of a cup of sugar. We're going to add all of that to this pan and stir it around. As we're stirring, we're going to kind of smash that pineapple. You can even use your kitchen shears and cut it up into even smaller chunks if you feel like it, which you know how much I love my kitchen shears. Of course I felt like it. This is our bundt cake, our angel food bundt cake that has come out of the pan. It looks beautiful, as you see, and this pineapple topping is going to go so well with it. Now to make some caramelized grilled pineapple skewers. We're going to skewer each of our pineapple wedges that we made. Then we're going to just sprinkle evenly on all sides that cinnamon sugar. I just made my own cinnamon sugar with about a teaspoon of cinnamon to about 1/4 of a cup of sugar, and just mixing that around. Then I sprinkled all of that cinnamon sugar on all the sides of the pineapple and wrapped the whole batch of pineapple wedges in saran wrap until we were ready to grill them. Alright, so we got our grill all set up. We have it chilling at roughly 375 degrees. And we're gonna go ahead and start getting some of these guys onto the grill. Meat's all on. We're gonna give this a close and open it in about 2 minutes. Alright, it's been 2 minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and open these up and give them a little bit of a flip. Now we're going to close this lid for another 2 minutes and let them keep cooking. And it's been about 2 more minutes, so we're going to open this up, see how we're looking. It's looking pretty good. And give it probably one more flip, and then it might be done actually. Already another 2 minutes has gone by. I'm going to go ahead and check on these. These are looking good. I think they might be done, at least to my liking. So, one thing I did notice, and you might want to change this, is that these will burn, the sticks will burn unless you soak them in water first. The only downside with having them burn is that sometimes when you are flipping them, the ends might break off, which I had one, well, it fell in the fire. Anyway, you might have them break off, so that would be one little tweak I might add for your sake. But look at these. These are looking good, guys. I have some very jealous dogs, I think. Look at that. There's a stack of meat there. Looks delightful. And the colors really pop with that pineapple for sure. Now it's time to focus on our corn on the cob. We're going to stick these ears that have been soaking. I soaked them overnight in the end. And it looks like we got plenty of room. We're going to go ahead and put these pineapple spears onto the grill as well. Here we go. We're going to close the lid and let them cook for about 2 minutes. Alright, it's been about 2 minutes, so we're going to go ahead and open these up. Just see if we're ready to do a little flipping. Now we're going to close the lid and let it go for another 2 minutes. Alright, I think these are done. The corn might need a minute or two more, but the pineapple for sure is finished, so I'm going to go ahead and transfer it to this plate. Here's our delicious pineapple. Got some good char marks, some excessive char marks, but not too bad. Looking pretty good. Now we're going to go ahead and close this thing let these cook for a few more minutes, probably about 4 more minutes. Now, if you really want to put this pineapple over the top, just take some butter, use a pastry brush, and just brush it with that butter. Butter's gonna melt and re-caramelize everything on there. It's gonna be really gooey and delicious. It's been another 4 minutes, or I should say it has been 4 minutes. So we're gonna take these on off. We're gonna wait for them to cool off just a little bit, just enough for us not to burn our hands while we are husking them or shucking them or whatever it's called. And while we shuck them, we will shuck them onto a plate and then cut them in half and put some butter and salt and pepper on it. But the grilling part's done, yay! And here's the whole spread. We've got our buttered corn on the cob, our grilled pineapple, our fresh cucumber salad, these skewers, which turned out deliciously, our fumi salad, and then this nice fresh pineapple angel food cake dessert. And all of this for $20, guys. I feel like we did pretty well for this. Now, the flies are out in droves, so we better get to eating this, but thanks for joining me today. I hope you join me in the next one. I will keep doing more of these budget meals as long as the prices keep hiking up, which I think is a pretty definite thing, unfortunately. So, see you in the next one, guys.